Hey, what up everybody, I'm Cynical, and this is Dark Souls Remastered on PS4. And here we are in part 9, almost done with Blighttown. We're just going for this Firekeeper soul over here in this little nook and cranny. That was one of the last toxic blow dart guys, so we're almost done with this spider shield as well. Here's the last one. He's over across a gap. So you can either shoot him with like a bow and arrow, or you can jump over there. I don't recommend jumping over there until he, isn't right there, because he can shoot you while you're jumping and then it might knock you down or whatever. So, let me put this down over here. Let's see what comes out of my mouth today, guys. And then you can also shoot these fire-breathing dogs from up here with the bow and arrow. So bow and arrow is very important in this game. A lot of people skip over it, and it just makes the game harder if you don't have it. Some people call it cheesing the game when you just use a bow and arrow. Like, I don't call that cheesing. Maybe the poison arrows, but I love poison arrows, so I don't know. You can call that cheesing if you want, but I love poison arrows. It's really satisfying to shoot something from a mile away, and they don't even take damage, but the arrows are hitting, and then they get poisoned after like 5 or 6 arrows. It's really nice. There's a example of that later in this video here. Yeah, so this guy, you want to kind of be careful. Hit him with some sort of ranged attack, because you don't want to get toxicity on you. Especially if you don't have a blooming purple moss clump, which if you don't, and you're down here, and you still got to face all these blow dart dudes, you're probably in trouble. You can be super careful and still get toxic, and then you just pretty much die because it stays on you for a really long time. You'll probably have to use up all your Estus flasks just to survive it, and then you'll get it again, or you'll be completely out of Estus flasks just from surviving it, and you won't be able to survive the rest of the level. So one way or the other, it's going to get you, whether it's directly or indirectly. A lot of fire dogs down here. These guys are more trouble than they look like they are, especially in groups. So be careful with them as well. They're probably never going to burn you with their fire, but they're pretty quick and hard to hit, and they usually come in packs of at least 2. So be careful, because there's around 6 of them down here, and if you get all of them on you, you might die. If you get more than 2 on you at a time, I would run to the ladder and just try to get out of there instead of trying to fight them. They look small and like non-threatening, but they are if there's more than one, because they're quick. So they can start, knocking you around a little bit, frustrating you, hopping from side to side, dodging your attacks, hitting you while you're focused on the other one, and then before you know it, you're almost dead, and they're not, and you think you got a good swing on them, and it just doesn't hit them because they're so small and quick. But here's that Firekeeper soul. That was the main target for this area that we were going for. This will give our Estus flask more power. For every time we drink it, it gives us more health. Soul of a long-lost Firekeeper. Each Firekeeper is a corporeal manifestation of her bonfire, and a draw for the humanity which is offered to her. Her soul is gnawed by infinite humanity and can boost the power of precious Estus flasks. It can be used to gain humanity and restore HP at the cost of losing the Firekeeper soul to reinforce the Estus flasks. So you never want to use these until you never want to use these. Don't ever use it. What you want to do is take it to a Firekeeper and give it to them. So you can take it up to Anastasia, or whatever her name is, the one up by the Firelink bonfire that cannot speak. You can take it to Our Fair Lady, the spider woman we just met last video. And there's one further on in Anor Londo that you could take it to as well. So you can make that jump, I just didn't. But there's really nothing up here except for that toxic blow dart guy, but you want to get rid of him, so if you have to hop over here because you don't have ranged attack, make sure you take care of him. because now, with that done, there are no more toxic blow dart enemies in the whole area, or the game, that I know of, unless there's some in the DLC. So we're done with that. I could take off the shield right now, and I think I will shortly. Put it back on our grass crest shield, which gives us a stamina regeneration. So that yellow bar that keeps going up and down, that's our stamina. And the grass crest shield, the shield that we are wearing, makes it go back up quicker. A stamina regeneration, like all the time you're wearing it. You have to have it equipped. You can wear it on your back and two-hand your weapon and it still works, or you can hold it in your hand like I'm doing with the spider shield here. But yeah, this one I got on right now is the spider shield. I'm using that right now because of the toxic blow dart enemies. This is the only shield that will totally block the blow darts. If I was trying to block the blow darts with this shield that I just put on, which is our grass crest shield, it would go right through it and still make you toxic. So that's why I switched shields earlier when we got down here and started messing with those blow dart dudes. Alright, so don't forget to go over here. There's a tree branch a little bit lower down than the aqueduct there where you got the Firekeeper soul. There's a tree branch you can walk across, and it takes you over here, and there's a couple items over here. This is an awesome set. If I wasn't wearing the black one right now, I would wear this one, the Mask of the Stealer, the Crimson set. It's pretty much what I'm wearing right now, except for it's red, and it has a different headpiece. It's still really awesome looking. And if I wasn't wearing the one I'm wearing, I'd probably wear that. But I already kind of dedicated myself to wearing the one I'm wearing, so gonna go with it. But yeah, look at this thing. It's pretty awesome. Mask of the Stealer. Mask of the sorcerers who flooded New Londo to seal away the dark wraiths and the four kings who descended into dark. It symbolizes their resolve to keep the seal shut forever and their atonement for all who were sacrificed. But two of the three forsook New Londo upon tiring of their duty. So these guys sealed in New Londo, which is now a bunch of ghosts and wraiths, and a bunch of people drowned there. Crimson Robe of the sorcerers who flooded New Londo to seal away the dark race, and the four kings who descended into dark. The sealers were once known as healers, and the bright crimson was a symbol of that. So these four healer guys, sorcerers, sealed up New Londo. These all say the same thing after. They just change from what piece it is. These four guys sealed up New Londo because of the four kings, which is like the evil four kings that we fight later on. And now there's dark wraiths and ghosts there because when New Londo was flooded, it killed everybody there, so there's a ton of bodies there. You'll see later on. When we go to New Londo, it's probably my favorite area in the game. I think I already mentioned that. There's just a bunch of bodies just all over. Like the whole ground is just bodies because the place was flooded and it killed everybody. But they had to do it because they're trying to keep in the four kings, the dark wraiths, all the ghosts, which were also created as they killed everybody, made more ghosts. So this place is just a bad place. Basically a ghost town, literally. With these cool looking dark wraiths running around with cool swords and skull masks. I don't even think it's masks, it's just their face is a skull. And they kind of have a hood like me, but they're more like a knight with a cool sword, like a black knight. But they have like a skull, they're like a skeleton version of a black knight. So it's that's probably my favorite enemy in the game as well. So my favorite area, my favorite enemies. The ghosts are difficult. You have to have a cursed weapon or be cursed yourself to even damage them. So that's not the funnest part about it, but I don't know, I've always been into like ghosts and stuff like that. Whenever I talk to somebody about that kind of stuff, you're either into aliens or you're into ghosts. Like, you don't have to believe in it, but you can like be entertained by it or interested in it. And it seems like you're either one or the other. Like, I'm not really into like space and aliens and stuff like that. I mean, I can be, but I'm more into the like the ghost, like the haunted house, the I don't know, stuff like that. I always want to see like ghosts in movies, like Paranormal Activity. I don't know, but if I had to choose between the two, I would go with that, and not like aliens. Like, there's aliens could invade, you know, and that's a scary thing to think about. But also, what if dead people came back as spirits and like terrorized people and could affect this world? Like, that's another thing that, you know, people think about, even though you've never seen it happen or whatever. Like, you've never seen an alien, and I've never seen a ghost, but it's two things people, you know, think about and think are interesting to talk about and see on like movies and stuff like that. But that's probably why I think New Londo is a cool area. First of all, the Dark Wraiths are one of the coolest looking enemies, and then you got all the ghosts floating around and all the dead bodies on the ground, and just, it's a cool story. And the boss is pretty cool too. It's pretty hard if you're doing certain kinds of runs. If you're doing like just a normal run, it's not super hard, because you can overpower them by over leveling. And pyromancy's pretty tough on them as well, like burns them down pretty good. But remember, you can parry, you can practice parrying on these guys. They're one of the easiest guys to parry. I think I already mentioned that. But right now we're just going back to Firelink Shrine. At least that's what I thought I was gonna do. I can't remember what happens. Oh, yeah. I'm trying to remember the sequence of events of what happens, because something happens here coming up. You should not do. Don't do what I do. Do what I say. Just do what I say and not what I do. But before we go back to Firelink Shrine, I wanted to pick up a couple items out here in the Valley of Drakes. It kind of looks like it's not an area when you first see it. It looks like it's just like a canyon, a valley, and there's not much going on here. But there is a few enemies, a few little nooks and crannies. It's not like a full-fledged area per se. You can jump over right here, but that's like the only spot, so be careful. It's not like a full-fledged area, but there's a big dragon, and then there's like 5 or 6 drakes that are pretty tough, and there's a few items, and this is where you come out once you beat New Londo, which we were just talking about. And it also connects to the Darkroot Garden area that we've already kind of poked our head in here and fought a drake earlier, and also Blighttown and Firelink Shrine. So this whole game is like a big connected world. You can get from one place to the other, and I forget how they describe it, but it's really cool how you can go from one area to the other, and it's so connected. Like, it's not like a hub with like one area off the hub. It's like so connected, like a real world. You know how a lot of games you like start in the hub, and then you go north and there's an area that way, and then you come back to the hub, and then you go east and there's an area that way, and then you come back to the hub, and then you go west and there's an area that way. You know how most games are like that? Well, this game isn't like that. You go to Undead Burg, and you can get to Lower Undead Burg, the Depths, Undead Parish, you know, at least 3 different areas. And then from that area you can get to like 3 other areas, and they all come back and to each other. You know what I'm saying? So you don't have to ever go back to a hub. Like I can get from here to any other area without going back to the hub if I wanted to. Like I could totally skip around the hub. So it's like stacked on top of each other, like it's vertical and horizontal. Most games, the way they design the level design, it's like all horizontal. They don't put any verticality in it, and they don't interconnect the world. So it's like a hub, and then you go north, and there might be two areas that way. You go to one, and then you go to the other, and then you have to go back through the one to get back to the hub, or whatever. It's more linear. This is less linear, more of a sandbox kinda, but not really. But it's more interconnected and vertical and horizontal, to where you can go to one area and get to 3 other areas from that area. So from here, from where we're standing, I can go to Darkroot Garden, I can go to New Londo as soon as we open the door, I can go to Blight Town, and I can go to the Firelink Shrine. So 4 areas from this where I'm standing. In most games you'd have to go back to one area, which is the hub, and then you can go to different areas. I don't have to go back to the hub to go anywhere else. I can go straight to somewhere else. So I thought that was cool about this game, and we needed something to talk about while I'm just firing arrows here. These things have a lot of health, and they're hard to kill because you're not supposed to really fight them until after New Londo. After you break the seal and let the water out and are done and beat the 4 kings, which is really late in the game. So that's why these guys have so much health. But you can poison them with poison arrows from really far away, and then you can just stand there and watch them die, because poison, I think, stays on the whole entire life bar. You might have to poison them twice, maybe. But while they're poisoned, I was thinking, okay, well, I'll just go over here and kill this dragon while they're poisoned, because it's going to take a while, and I know I'm recording a video, so I can't just be boring. But get yourself a bow and arrow and some poison arrows, just trust me. Okay, it's okay to grab that item, but if you grab either one of these items, he wakes up. And I was greedy, and I got smashed. And then I tried to roll out of it, and he just hit me, so it is what it is. I should have just grabbed one item and ran away. That would have been the right thing to do. And you can see those dragons are still getting damaged back there, even as I was dying. But that's the way the cookie crumbles there. We died. I was kind of frustrated with myself. That's why I was probably standing still for a second. Dying to that dragon is so annoying because he's stationary. Like, if you wake him up and just run a few feet away, he can't even hit you. So I was annoyed that I died to him, because almost nobody dies to him unless they're a noob and they pick up those items like I did. I haven't played this game in 5 years though, so I'm half a noob. I'm just a noob with a lot of knowledge. My thumbs are noobish right now. But watch this crap too. Luckily I put on the Ring of Sacrifice. Like I let you guys know, the Ring of Sacrifice works for your soul stain. So make sure you use it on corpse runs. But see, I die. Ring Revival. So that's the only reason I died there, was to demonstrate what that ring does. No, I'm just kidding. I actually died because I suck at rolling there. I hate that water wheel, and I can't wait till we get out of here and I never have to use that stupid thing, because I've already died 2 times off it. You just gotta face straight forward, roll a little bit late, and hold straight forward. If you tilt to the left or right at all, then you're gonna roll right off and die. If you go too early, you're gonna die. If you go too late, you're gonna die. It's annoying. What happened there for me was I didn't push straight forward on the sticks. I kinda was lazy about it and tilted a little bit to the left or right, and that's why I jumped and rolled to the left or whatever and fell off. But yeah, this time I'm like, dude, I'm gonna ram this stick so hard straight that we're not gonna die, because I'm not gonna die twice to that Because now I don't have that ring anymore. So I can't use it anymore. There's more, you'll find more of them as you go, but they're not super plentiful. Eventually, if you don't die a lot and you don't use them a lot, because you have to die at a certain time while you're wearing it for it to break. So you might stack up like 5 or 6 of them. But, you know, they're spread out throughout the game, so you're not, like right now I only had 1, and I just used it. And I could probably find another one. I think Melincha has one. That's not even her name. I think that's the Dark Souls 2 chick's name, but they kind of look the same, so. The undead vendor lady in the aqueduct. I call her Melincha because she's a crotchety old female vendor like Melincha is in Dark Souls 2. I don't know, sometimes I'd be getting names wrong, but I call myself out on it. And I don't really care that much because it's been a long time. But yeah, on that water wheel, just hold straight, like jam your sticks just straight forward and roll. Don't play around and be lazy with your stick on that. And wait till a little bit further than you think you should wait, but not too long. Alright, let's go get our body. I'm probably gonna play it safe to get this body. But I keep talking about recommending you get a bow and arrow, and then something else happens. But yeah, get a bow and arrow. Whether it's the short bow or the long bow. And then get you some arrows. Poison arrows. The undead merchant in the aqueduct, she has poison arrows. They're a little bit more expensive, but they're worth it because it only takes 5 or 6 to poison them, and then they die. Instead of using like 50 wooden arrows to kill something like I'm doing here. This thing can't be poisoned though because it's a poison dragon. Like, that's its whole thing. It's a poison dragon. So you can't poison it. I wasted some poison arrows, but I only had like 1 round of poison arrows left anyway, so I thought I would make sure you couldn't poison him. But you can go up here on this ledge and shoot him safely with arrows from here. He can't do anything. All he does is spit on the ground. But yeah, he's stationary. If you get a certain amount of feet away from him, he can't even hit you. He has a spit attack which shoots like, I think it's poison or the there's a spell that damages your armor also. So I don't know if it's poison or the armor damaging stuff. Corrosion, I think it's called, or something. But let's jump down and get our soul stain. Actually, I was too chicken. Let's wait till he dies. I was just trying to see if I could get a plunging attack on him with my big long weapon. Or if I could somehow attack him with this scythe. If I had thought ahead, I could have equipped my pyromancy fireballs and thrown them at him. Or I could have used something else like you know, knives, throwing knives, or you know, I forget what they're called, the fire bombs you get at the beginning of the game. Throw some fire bombs at them, shoot some sort of magic at them, whether it's pyromancy or sorcery or miracle, because you just can't hit him with the weapon. He's too busy with that breath he's doing. You would get hit by it. I'm sure there's a way to get in there. Like, you might be able to run in real fast, hit him, and run out. But I didn't want to risk it since I already died. And I don't have my ring of revival. And my soul stain is right there, like in the worst spot. So just don't do what I did, please. Don't grab those 2 items. What you want to do is kill him first. So you could do a big old 2-handed gold pine resin attacker 3 on him, and then he'll start doing this. But at least you have a chance while he's waking up to hit him a few times. and then you can back off and use bow and arrow or magic or fire bombs or knives or whatever, like I'm doing here. But you can get a couple attacks in first to make it less painful. Take him down a little bit while he's still sleeping. And I don't even know if he wakes up right away if you attack him. The only time he wakes up right away is when you grab that sword and that shield, which is I think a Stora's shield, a Stora's short sword maybe, and the Dragon Crest shield. I'm pretty sure that sword that we grabbed and died right where he, you know, when he woke up and we were grabbing that stuff. I think that sword you can use in the catacombs, and it's a divine weapon. So if you want to go to the catacombs but you don't have the materials to make a divine weapon, or you don't have the divine ember from the Moonlight Butterfly, or you know, you can come and grab that sword, which is already pre-made divine. I'm pretty sure there's definitely a weapon like it that is divine. Like, I'll probably test it out since I'm saying it now. I'll equip that sword and go kill some skeletons and see if they stay dead or not. That'd be the way to test it. But finally he's dead. I know that was exciting, but we get a dragon scale. We get our soul stain. We got a bunch of souls. We really need to get that silver ring. I need to look up where that thing is so we can get extra souls. There's a silver serpent ring that gives extra souls. Straight sword of an unknown knight, likely one of Astora's superiors. High quality weapon with a powerful blessing. Astora's straight sword, the ass sword, has a powerful blessing, which I think is divine, which is what you can use to go through the catacombs with. The ASS. Easy to remember, huh? Dragon Crest Shield. Shield of a nameless knight, likely a high-ranking knight of Astora. Astora. One of the enchanted blue shields. It has extra magic. No, it has extra fire resistance. The Dragon Crest Shield has extra fire resistance. I didn't give myself enough time to read that, but that's what it says at the end there. Like the one we're wearing has the extra stamina regen. It's the Grass Crest Shield. That is the Dragon Crest Shield. So there's different crest shields, and they have different effects on them. So the one we're using has stamina regeneration, the green bar that goes up and down. If you run out of that green bar, you can't attack. If you run out of that green bar, you can't sprint. If you run out of that green bar, you can't block. You need that green bar. So the Grass Crest Shield regenerates that stamina quicker than normal. Then the Dragon Crest Shield will, if you're wearing it, protects you against fire. So if you face something that's like Quelaag, we just faced Quelaag, it would give you extra fire resistance. This guy really has nothing going on, so so who cares if I don't talk about it. Repairing our equipment. And then there's another one called the Crest Shield, I think we're getting shortly, that has extra magic resistance. So something like Gwendolyn. There's a boss that shoots magic at you only. If you have the Crest Shield on, it won't hurt as bad. Of course, it isn't full protection, but if you get hit for normally 100 damage and you put on the Crest Shield, you'll probably get hit for 60 or whatever instead of 100. Then you can also put on some magic resisting armor, and then you'll only get hit for 40. You can't totally negate it, but you can take it down to where it's a tickle instead of a kill. I'm gonna take a humanity while we're waiting for the elevator. We're heading back up to Firelink Shrine. I'm gonna see if anybody says anything about me ringing the second bell in the last video. That was the major quest we were on at the beginning of the game, was ringing that second bell, opening Sen's Fortress, so we can go through that death trap and get to Anor Londo, which you're gonna hear more about in a second. You'll hear more of the story right here. So this this part is, I don't know. It's kind of like not a lot of progress, but a lot at the same time. Like, we got a Firekeeper soul, which lets us get another plus 1 on our Estus Flask. Now we're plus 2, which gives us more healing power.
Did you ring the second bell? That is incredible, I must say. But now we have a new problem. It's noisy, it snores, and its breath is lethal. This is no laughing matter, I tell you.
So he gets annoyed that we rang the bell.
That stench. And I was really beginning to like it here. Maybe it's time I do something about it.
So I pretty much sent a couple of these NPCs off to their death.
Maybe it's...
That's pretty much his death right there, because now he says it stinks. Because there's a big snake guy here that's kind of the exposition for the story. He's like the main guy that keeps you informed about what the main story is, and you know, he's the main character that keeps the story going all the way to the end of the game now. So he's here. This other guy doesn't like him because he stinks. It's a big old stinky snake, and he snores and he's loud. So he stinks and he's loud. A bad combination. So he runs off and kills himself, and this
hello.
guy,
You've been a stranger these days.
I screwed up here.
What's spectacular pyromancy? Tell me about it. I have never seen anything like it.
You want to say no, and I said yes.
Oh, yes, of course. Thank you for sharing. I'm still an able pyromancer. I shall locate her myself. I mean, you're dead once again.
So I just killed that guy. Didn't mean to. I'm kind of banging my head against the wall right now. Like, dang it. Now I need to buy all his stuff, because he's going to run away. So I bought all of his stuff, but I still needed to upgrade my glove. But I didn't have enough souls, so I really screwed it up.
Flame is a part of his own flame.
Once you show him the powerful pyromancy that the Our Fair Lady gives you, he runs away to Blighttown to go talk to her. So he runs into that poison swamp with the blow dart guys and the water wheel and all that, and the giants throwing rocks and the enemies blowing fire, and the poison fire, rocks, water wheels, gravity. He goes there.
Was it you who rang the bell of awakening? I am the primordial serpent, King Seeker Frapt, close friend of the great Lord Gwyn, chosen undead, who has rung the bell of awakening. I wish to elucidate your fate. Do you seek such enlightenment? Very well. Then I am pleased to share. Chosen undead, your fate is to succeed the great Lord Gwyn, so that you may link the fire, cast away the dark, and undo the curse of the undead. To this end, you must visit Anor Londo and acquire the Lord Vessel. I am pleased to see you well. Is it something urgent?
So that's the main story of the game there. Now, once we rang the 2 bells, now that's our new quest.
Those who seek the realm of lords must brave Sen's fortress, a deadly house of traps. Many have gone before you, but none have returned. Fate has chosen you, but proceed with caution.
So we need to go to Sen's
Those who
fortress.
seek many have fate. Farewell, chosen undead. I remain here and await thee.
So we're the chosen one to overthrow Lord Gwyn, who is keeping the fire going. So we're gonna overthrow him and you know, stoke that flame. There's different things you can do. You can not stoke the flame, you can stoke the flame, you can become...
to see us both in one piece.
You could take his
Incidentally,
place, or you can
would
not
care
take
to
his
learn
place,
any
like...
sorceries? You're clearly talented, and besides, I owe you. Of course, we will require some materials, but I'm happy to teach you some elementary spells. Are you interested? Splendid. Very well. I am pleased to have a chance to give something back. Well then, let's get started straight away.
So he's only talking to me because I added a point in intelligence. You need 10 intelligence to talk to this guy, or else he won't sell to you or talk to you. He's got a couple good rings here for sorcery, and you might need at least one spell from him, no matter if you're doing sorcery or not. So you might want to buy a wand and the sorcery that...
Big Hat Logan. Master Logan is a great sorcerer and my teacher.
It's like a light
Both
source.
of us came to this land as undead. But one day, he departed, leaving only a note. I suppose he wished to keep me out of harm's way. But where does that leave me? I have dedicated myself to sorcery, but Master Logan could find no use for me. Ah, yes. The note that Master Logan left. It only said he would travel to Anor Londo by way of Sen's fortress. I can only guess that he seeks the regal archives, for Master Logan is a tireless pursuer of wisdom. Wisdom trumps all. Everything else is hogwash. When the curse turned him undead, I'm certain that he only felt it was the perfect chance to visit this land. I only wish that I had his courage. 2 things are required for sorcery. First, you must equip a wand. Second, you must attune a sorcery. Then you will be ready to fire away. Oh, and
don't forget to
don't
aim.
forget to aim. 2 things are
As a
required.
cornball.
Then... Oh, goodbye then. Do
So we had a lot of choices here, huh? So I made the wrong choice with the Pyromancer. You're supposed to say no. Don't show him the advanced sorcery or pyromancy, because then he'll want to run away if you do. So don't show him that
I'm
advanced
sorry.
pyromancy.
Sometimes I...
Kingseeker Framped, there is a yes and no for him. If you say no to him, there's a different snake guy down in New Londo later in the game, and you can choose him instead and do the dark ending. You can do the dark ending whether you say yes or no to Kingseeker Framped, because you can just walk away from the fire at the end and just not do what he says. But if you want to do the other quest line with the other snake guy, then just say no to Kingseeker Framped and go talk to him. It's a little bit harder to do the other snake. Kingseeker Framped is like the main one, but there is another one that you can go out of your way to go and talk to instead, and he's kind of harder to get to, and he's not in the main hub area, and you know, it's a different story though, and you can get in a different covenant and everything. Something to do on like your second playthrough. Like if it's your first playthrough, just go with Kingseeker Framped, because he's way easier to get to. It's way more simple. But I could have said no to him as well, and he wouldn't have told me that whole story though. But I wanted that on here, so I'm glad I said yes to him. I'm just gonna go with him in this playthrough. But he basically said we need to go to Sen's fortress, get through that, go to Anor Londo, and open up the whole game in Anor Londo, get the power to teleport, and then go fight, you know, get the Lord Vessel, fill it with the great old souls, and then once we have 4 of those, we can place the Lord Vessel and go fight Lord Gwyn and take his place, overthrow him, keep the fire lit. The fire is lit, and that's the only reason this world has light. The only reason this world is even has life. The fire is getting low. It's going out. They think he needs to be overthrown. They think the fire will be stoked if we overthrow him. Something like that. But you can walk away from it and just let the world go dark also. So there's two different endings to this game. The one where you take Gwyn's place and you stoke the flame, and now you're just standing there as the Firekeeper for that main fire. Or you can walk away and let the world go dark, and some people want that to happen. So some people want the world to go dark, some people want the flame to stay lit, and there's 2 different factions. Kingseeker Framped wants to keep it lit. And there's another one with a similar name. That's the darker version that wants to make it dark. Primordial Serpents. Kingseeker Frampt is a primordial serpent. There's 2 of them. There's more than 2 actually, but there's only 2 named in the game. So there's Frampt, and then there's another one, I forget his name. But here we are, back at the Northern Undead Asylum. You can only do this once you get the key off the roof there in Firelink Shrine. You don't have to come back here. This is an optional area. But you get the rusty iron ring, which I've been talking about in my previous videos, which we don't need that bad anymore since we already beat Blighttown. But there's also a Titanite Slab here, and some really good resource materials, and a cool shield. I think that's it. But I do the dumbest bonehead way ever. Don't do what I do. Don't do what I do. And this boss is kind of hard. The floor gives away. First time you come here, you won't know that. And he just straight smashes me. Did you see that? I'm an idiot. I thought I had a second once I landed. But nope, you don't. You better get the heck out of there. You don't have a second. What you want to do is, now you know where the floor caves in. And look at this, we're way back here. So we gotta redo that whole crow run. So I had a couple irritating deaths in this part. The water wheel, the stationary dragon that I shouldn't have died to, and then that. I should have hit the bonfire first. Basically, I did not hit a checkpoint. That was my boneheaded mistake. There's a bonfire in there that you can hit. But if you're a new player and you walk in there, you're not going to know that either. So that would have happened to you as well. So this is how you deal with it as a new player that just walks in and the floor gives away all of a sudden. Because we were there at the beginning of the game, if you remember. And that's the very beginning of the game where we're in the cell and we get unlocked and we come out and we fight one of those demons, the Asylum demon. And the floor didn't give away when we fought him the first time, right? But now it does all of a sudden. So this trap catches a lot of people, and I knew about it, and I still got caught by it. So take that for what you will. But you can avoid it as long as you go on the outer skirts of the room, like the outskirts, by the wall, where the floor is stronger, where the floor meets the wall. Just stay on the outside of the room and you'll be fine. You can't run straight across the middle. That's where it gives way. Then you face a boss. At least our soul stain wasn't down there. If you're where the jars are, you're fine. If you're where these bases are, just don't go out in the middle. There's even a cheeky little message there for you if you want to read it. Something about the floor. But here's the bonfire, if you remember this one. Very first bonfire in the game. You can sit at that, and then you can face the boss multiple times if you would like. Just don't forget about these guys. I forgot. Keep forgetting stuff. But I remember the first time I played this game, I had a lot of trouble with this boss. It might not even have been the first time I played this game. It might have been like the second or third time, because the first time you play this game, you might not even know that this is here, because this is a optional boss. And he's difficult. The stray demon, I'll explain it as we fight him, but it's not the same as the Asylum demon. He looks exactly the same, but he has a fire burst that he does right there. See that? It's an explosion. So it's an area effect. He also has that. He flies up in the air and tries to sit on you. And that's what you want. You want that one. You want the fly up in the air and try to sit on you one. Because that's easy to avoid and easy to punish. The explosion that he's doing, you think, oh, I'll just get around behind him and it won't hurt me. Boom! That's not true. It has a big area effect that goes behind him. So you have to avoid, like, it's the center of his staff and it goes out in a half circle, you know? A dome. It's a certain area, and he can throw it too. So he can shoot it behind himself. He can shoot it in front of himself. He can shoot it to the side. You just gotta be careful. Anytime he's doing that, you gotta back off. And that's where you have trouble, because he'll catch you with that explosion. It'll kill you in one or two of them. And then he'll try to sit on you, which that's easy to punish as long as you're aware of it. And you can get him into this loop of doing this. I was trying to do it here, but it didn't work. Got him to do it a couple times in a row. Pretty much the explosion goes towards wherever you are. So you gotta get the heck out of there. And he can throw them. See there? He threw it at me. Now I need to get the heck out, because it's gonna go behind him. But it's not as simple as it looks. The explosions go in weird angles. If you're behind him, you're not safe. When he does the that's really a really far attack there. You gotta watch out for that. I'm surprised he didn't hit me with it. This right here, its hitbox is way bigger than it looks like it is. So you can't be really close waiting for him to land. You have to like kind of get back further than you think, because it's more like, it's like an earthquake. So when he lands, if you're within like 5 feet of him, it's gonna still hurt you. So you can't punish it as hard as you think. You can really only do 1 or 2 hits. You gotta be patient. You gotta be aware of the explosion, and you gotta be aware of his, when he lands, that it's like an earthquake, and not just you don't just have to avoid him sitting on you. You have to avoid the area effect of him landing. Then on top of all of that, his weapon has a really long range and a really big hitbox. So I beat him on my first try. I mean, that's my first legit try. The first time I just landed and got smashed, so I don't really count that. But humanity, homeward bone, 20,000 souls, and a Titanite Slab. So really worthwhile to come here, especially for the Titanite Slab. That's the highest upgrade material in the game. Nothing beats that. Titanite Slab is the whole slab. You notice that there's shards, there's chunks, and there's slabs. So the slab is the whole thing. That's how you get your weapon to the highest power, with the slab. So it's a very valuable piece of resource upgrade material. So it's worth coming here just for that. The rusty iron ring is another thing useful to come here for. And then these black knights are here now. I guess they came to investigate why you escaped or something. Because this is right where you started the game. That Black Knight was in the cell that we were locked in. Somebody must have sent them to investigate. Peculiar doll. Another reason to come here I forgot about. This is a key to get into another optional area. A strange doll in strange dress. There once was an abomination who had no place in this world. She clutched this doll tightly and eventually was drawn into a cold and lonely painted world. So you want to come here before you go to Anor Londo, because there's a optional area in Anor Londo, which is the area after Sin's Fortress. The place they're telling you to go right now is Sin's Fortress. So if you do what they say and you go to Sin's Fortress, then you're going to go to Anor Londo, then you're going to be stuck there, and you're going to find that there's a optional area you can't get into because you don't have that peculiar doll. So you have to go to an optional area to get the key to go to another optional area. Sounds like Dark Souls to me, which is awesome. Sounds awesome to me, or Dark Souls if you may. I like that. You have to go to a optional area to get a key to go to another optional area. So if you don't go to the first optional area, you can't go to the second one. And here's our buddy Oscar, the guy that at the very beginning of the game gave us an Estus flask and told us to leave or else he would attack us because he was succumbing to becoming undead or hollow. Tried to parry, I almost got it. If you don't get hit for full damage, that means you're really close. He's wearing one of the crest shields. Just chopped his ass down after a backstab. And he was hollow, so don't feel bad about killing him. It's like killing a zombie. He was not himself anymore. Crest shield. Shield of a nameless knight, likely a high-ranked knight of Astora. One of the enchanted blue shields. The crest shield greatly reduces magic attacks. I didn't give myself much time, but the crest shield helps with magic resistance, and the dragon crest shield helps with fire resistance. And I forgot about that freaking bowling ball. I'm like, I didn't think it was still rolled down the stairs the second when you come back. I didn't think the second time you come back here that it was still there, but it was. So it got me. Stupid thing. So the floor got me and the bowling ball got me. That's funny. Stuff that should never get anybody that's played this game before. So that should be funny for a couple people. That the floor got me and the bowling ball got me. And I'm missing parries. I still think I'm doing pretty well for not having played this game for at least 5 years. Probably longer. I don't know. Been a long time. It's before I even started my channel. This game came out in 2018, but this is remastered. This is like the remaster of the game I'm talking about. So here's our rusted iron ring. This iron ring was used to shackle the guilty. It is terribly rusted and faintly stained with blood. Those who find this strange ring to their liking will be pleased to find it easier to gain footing on poor grounds, such as swamps. So you won't be like slushing through the swamp. You'll be running like normal. And it's helpful in a few other areas, but mostly the Blighttown Poison Swamp. Like, there's a little bit of water in Ash Lake, which is another optional area. There's a little bit of water in Darkroot Garden, where you fight a Hydra. So that's probably the second most useful spot to use it. You gotta fight a Hydra, and you're standing in water. So those are the places I can think of. Plus, you probably will go back to Blighttown at some point. Like to go to the Great Hollow, to go to that optional secret area that I showed you last time. To go to Ash Lake. There's a few times you have to go back through there. Like, now we gotta go find our Pyromancer guy. He's down there now. Eventually Sigward guy will go down there. Eventually Quaylon will be down there. We'll want to revisit Our Fair Lady. We have to go to Izalith through that way, I think. So we're going to be going back through there. It's not totally useless that we got it. So we get a red Titanite chunk and a black knight sword for killing that one. You get different kinds of chunks, like red chunks, white chunks, normal chunks. The red chunks are for fire upgrades on your weapon. The white chunks are for divine upgrades on your weapon. Normal chunks are for the normal upgrade on your weapon, which helps with scaling, which is getting more damage based on a stat, is what scaling is. So that's what I'm doing. So the more dexterity I level, the more damage I'll do with my scythe. So I'm just going with the normal upgrade path, which uses scaling on most weapons. You have to find a weapon that does it, though, and does it well. Like, some weapons have an A in scaling, some weapons have a B, a C, a D, a E. A is the best, S is the best actually, but A, B, those are the good ones. E, F are the bad ones. So you have to look at this on the whatever. If you find a weapon you like, first thing you want to do is check out its scaling. Does it scale based on dexterity or strength or some other stat? Most of the time it's dexterity or strength. Then you got to see, is it a S, A, B, C, D? What is it? If it's a A, that means every time you put a point into that stat, it's going to gain a ton of attack. If it's a E or F, every time you put 5 points in that stat, it's going to gain like 1 attack or something, you know? It's less effective. So I don't know what the scythe has. I think it's like a C or a B in dexterity, so every time I put a point in dexterity, it gains a decent amount of attack. I think we gained 3 or 4 the last time we put a point in dex. We gained like 3 or 4 attack, which is good. Gaining 1 attack is okay, but gaining 3 or 4 is way better, obviously. Gaining 3 attack is like gaining like 50 damage probably, or maybe not that much, but like 20, 30 damage, something. But right here's where you get the key to go to that area. It was on top of this building, just for a reminder, reiteration, because I already showed that. But that's where it was, on top of that building that we just fell from. Our pyromancer guy's gone. That's annoying. I should have said no to him, because now I can't upgrade my glove. But I can go to that egg guy next to Our Fair Lady, and he can upgrade her glove. And we're going to find Quaylon later. She can do it, so it's not a big deal, but just annoying that I lost a vendor. Our other guy's not here, our depressed guy. He's gone as well. He's pretty much dead. So is the pyromancer. They go hollow. Just like you just saw Oscar went hollow. I think that's the first person you see go hollow in the game, is Oscar. It's pretty much like going crazy, like turning into a crazy zombie. Like you lose all will to live. You go crazy. Like you're in this world, you can't get out of it. The world is ending. You're hollow. Like you're gonna go hollow. Like you're undead. You're gonna go hollow. Like that's a sickness in this world. Like you can keep your humanity, you can have a certain amount, but it dwindles down. You become undead, and then you become hollow if you stay undead for too long, or if you stay in this world for too long and don't gain power, you become hollow. Because it's like a disease that is running rampant in this world, and everyone's affected by it. And if you aren't constantly gaining power, then you're constantly going hollow. Eventually Oscar, who was injured in that room and couldn't move out of that room, went completely hollow. So it's kind of like a vampire. They need blood. We need humanity. Vampire has to go out every night and get blood, or else he, has such bad cravings that he is, it's kind of like that. You have to get humanity to not go hollow.
Well, hello again.
I don't think this dude says anything new. But I'm just upgrading my weapon. I'm ascending my weapon, which allows it to go above +5. So you have to do a special ascension to be able to upgrade your weapon past +5. So remember that. Once you upgrade your first weapon to +5, you then have to ascend. You have to get the large ember from the depths. Some people skip the depths, but then they miss the large ember, so they have to go in there for that at least. You have to give him the large ember, and then you can ascend your weapons, and then you can get +6, +7, +8, +9, +10. But if you don't have the large ember, then you can't. You can only go to +5. So I'm ascending my great scythe, I'm ascending my grass crest shield, and now I can go to +6, +7, +8, +9, +10. But yeah, that's basically it for this part. We finished Blighttown. We got that Firekeeper soul. We talked to a bunch of people. We fought that poison dragon, got that sword and that shield, and a bunch of souls. And we went back to the Undead Asylum and beat up the stray demon, which gave us the Titanite Slab, which is the most sought after upgrade material, most expensive one, and will give us the highest plus rating on our weapon. So Like, share, subscribe. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.